All right, everybody. Sorry about that technical difficulty. Again, I promise we have mics this time. So as you join in, see who's coming in right now. Everybody's probably Terry Lynn. Yeah. All right, Terry Lynn. Sorry about that, everybody, but we're back up and going. Instead of being early today, we wanted to be late. We wanted to anticipate the wait for everybody to tune in. Not. All right, let me get this over again. You didn't get to hear it a while ago. All the way from Minnesota, we have Randy visited us from AR Pumps. Thank you, Randy, for
What's up,
coming in.
everybody? Thank you.
And all the way from Redlands,
Yes, sir.
California, DB Pressure Washing. For those of you who don't know him, my knucklehead here to the left is Mr. Devin Mosley. So thank you for tuning in. You didn't get to hear everything I was saying at the very first login, but for all of those that you don't know, except for the ones that already own my systems, already know the only pump that I use are AR pumps. Bulletproof pumps. There's a gentleman down in Florida, one of my customers, that referred Randy to me and wanted him to meet me. And so guess what? All the way from Minnesota, we have Randy here. Thank you, Spotlight Solar Experts. You're playing with our emotions. Get over it. You'll get over it. Hey, I don't know what happened today, but we had issues with mics. I guess, to be honest with you, the damn volume was turned down. Duh, technical difficulty. It wasn't nothing technical, it's the user's
Can't
difficulty.
make it too easy.
But Randy, so in AR pump world, what would you like to collaborate on? Anything new coming up?
We have expansion going on in the larger pumps. That's being worked on right now. So higher flow, higher pressures, trying to take them up to a little higher horsepower.
Right on. Let me see here.
It's been traditionally up to about 40, 50 horsepower. We're going up into the 50, 60 horsepower with the ratings now.
That's awesome.
That's awesome, dude.
With the ratings now.
So, what do you see more used out there in, like, for pressure washing world with sidewalls, concrete, shopping centers, parking garages? What is the main pump that everybody's using nowadays?
It's AR's got a lot of that market. You know, it's a big part of our market, and I don't really have numbers per se, so I don't want to, give false numbers or false information, but I can say that we are one of the dominant players out there in the market.
Right on. I know what I was asking is, what is the main pumps that you're using? Like, what is the most common PSI in gallons per minute pump that's used out there for cleaning concrete?
Concrete, we're hearing a lot of the higher flows. So you're up into the 7-8 gallon a minute range for the concrete cleaning is what I'm being told.
See, I've always used like the 3,500, 4,000 PSI, 5.5 gallons per minute. That's the most common one that I know of that's being used. Mr. Devin Mosley here has a 6 gallon per minute and an 8 gallon per minute. The rule of thumb, for those of you who don't know this, in pump world, it's not the PSI, it's the gallons per minute. So the gallons per minute, more water, more cleaning. You can get the job done quicker. You can push the dirt quicker and move on. But it all depends on, all right, let me back up a little bit. So in my world, as you notice, I run dual systems. So the average hydrant is usually 12 to 15 gallons per minute on the average hydrant if it's a residential or a commercial building like this. So the reason I run the 5.5 gallons per minute is that way I don't suck my tank dry running a higher volume pump. But if you have a permit with the city and you hook to a fire hydrant, you have to have a meter on there, then you got adequate water flow. So there's meters that you can put on a hydrant and turn on, and you can see what gallons per minute that meter is. If it's a hydrant or whatever, you can check that meter and see what the gallons per minute is. And that can kind of give you a little bit of idea if you're going to suck your tank dry, right?
Correct.
There you go. See, I might look dumb, but I'm not stupid. But far as, the higher volume pumps, this is a problem I have a lot. I've got customers that wants me to install them an 8 gallon per minute pump or a 10 gallon per minute pump because they want to run 2 people off that one pump. But the problem is they don't understand when you run 2 people off of one pump, you cut everything in half. So if it's a 10 gallon pump, you're putting out 5 gallons per minute.
Then it defeats the purpose of having a high pump.
Yep. And the PSI goes down too. So if you got a 4,000 PSI unit with 10 gallons per minute, now you're 2,000 PSI at 5 gallons per minute. So it defeats the purpose. So a lot of people don't know that. So they go out there and do this. And when they're out there cleaning, they're like, man, this thing don't have much pressure. Why? Duh, because you just cut it in half. Devin come in today.
For a pump issue. It's because it wasn't an AR pump.
There you go. So, in the world, there's a lot of issues that you can do. You can troubleshoot. A lot of the pumps have screens on them. A lot of people will call me up saying they've lost, pressure. And 9 times out of 10, your screen's plugged, you're not getting no water. Or if you run it out of water and you're cavitated it, you could break a spring, the spring in the valves. Then you really damaged your pump and you've lost pressure, and that's another issue.
I can definitely say what's cool with Mark is all the filters he puts on, the screens are clear, so you can easily check out the filter.
Yeah.
Because the first rig I had, it was all black casing.
Yeah.
So I had no idea. So it's pretty much every day you got to check that thing. It makes a huge difference.
Well, the problem with the black ones, the rule of thumb is out of sight, out of mind. You walk by, you don't see it. But if you walk by a clear one and you see it full of mud, or it's got green algae in it, or if it's just got a bunch of debris in there, sand or whatever, you never know. A lot of people that hook to ground water key, we're using a water key to hook to the hydrant in the ground for the irrigation system. You don't realize how many irrigations break daily. So once they get it back up and going, do you think that they flush out the irrigation lines? Nope. And guess where all that sediment mud's going to go if you don't check it? Right into your tank, and then it's going to go into your pump. So on all my water keys, I put a ball valve. If you've gotten water keys from me, you know what I'm talking about. So on a water key, you've got Acme, you've got Hunter, and you've got Rainbird. So these water keys have the little lids that flip up in the ground. You got the green covers with a round lid.
Red sometimes.
Yep. I haven't run across a red one. I've done yellow, purple, and purple. I haven't never run across a red one. But when you put the key in the ground and you turn it on, your ball valve's turned off. So once you get it locked in, you crack your ball valve, and the first thing I do is I put my hand over it to see what's coming out of the ground. If it's nice, clean water, shut it off, hook your water hose up, turn it on, get water to your tank. But if it's dirty, turn it on and let it run for a while until you got clear water. You don't want all that stuff going in your tank because you don't know what it is. It could be algae in it. It could be whatever. And then you put that in your tank, and guess what's going to be growing in your tank, and guess what it's going to do to your pump?
Well, you don't want more sediment going towards your pump either.
No.
Little things that add up to help out.
What does sediment and sand do to your pump, Randy?
It gums it up really bad. What Mark says is absolutely true. The 90%, what I hear from my service department, 90% of the pump failures are due to feed conditions of the pump. So he's done all the necessary steps to try to prevent that stuff from getting in the pumps. That's the word, getting stuff in it or lack of flow getting to the pump.
Yeah.
That's what kills the pumps.
Yeah. A lot of people don't realize if a pump is rated at 3 gallons, 5 gallons, 10, I don't care what gallons it is, you got to have the same tip. If you're running a surface cleaner with dual tips, you cut it in half. If you're running a wand, you got to have that tip in your wand. If you don't have the right gallon per minute tip, what does it do, Randy?
It doesn't build pressure.
Your pumps will not work properly. They can surge. You can think that they're starving for water. One of my customers went and ordered online a big bag of yellow tips. He just wanted yellow tips. He didn't check the gallon per minute. So he come to me all mad because his brand new pressure washer wasn't running good, and I sold him junk. Just so happens when I went to go pull his wand out to crank it up, I looked down, I'm like, well, that sure is a bright neon yellow tip. I'm like, I don't sell those, and they don't come in my pressure washers. So I pulled it out, and it was a 2 gallon, no, it was a 1.5 gallon per minute tip, and it was supposed to have been a 3.0 tip or a 3.5 tip. So I said, where did you get these tips? He said, oh, I got a deal on them online. I got a big old bag of them. I said, you need to ship them back.
Mhm.
So I come right in here, got his tip, cranked his pressure washer up, and it run good. And I just looked at him. Do I need to say more? So I sold you some bad stuff. He apologized to me. He said, I'm sorry, Mark. I said, dude, I said, it's all good. I said, you just didn't know. And I showed him on the tip. It has the writing on the tips, what gallon per minute they are. So for any pressure washing person out there, I don't care what you're doing, you got to have the right gallon per minute tip. If you don't, your pumps will not work properly.
100%.
What's some other tips we can tell everybody? Oh, we got a gentleman on here right now, Mr. Jordan from Africa. Good morning, guys. Let's see. It's about 12:25 a.m. in Africa right now. Jordan, thank you for waking up and tuning in, or staying up before you go to bed. So yeah, we got people from all over. Let's see what some of the questions are. Oh, we had so many tune in earlier, and then I had to dump you because of user technology.
Well, when you're talking about extra tips, it just made me think of having a bundle of spare O-rings for the tips and your quick connects.
Well, in the kits that I sell, we always give you the small ones and the large ones. So we give you some, but if you ever run out of O-rings, you need to let me know. If you're local, come by and pick them up. If you're out of town, call me. I'll mail you some. I can just put them in a little envelope, mail them to you.
You don't want to shut down a job because an O-ring blew.
Yeah. Yeah, when your O-ring tears, water's going to pour out of your coupler. So people that run too high of heat in their pressure washer, if they're going over 150, 160, and you're running hot temperature, you're going to start eating O-rings up. You're going to eat your hoses up. You're going to eat your fittings up, everything. So I don't ever run my pressure washer over 150 or 160 degrees. Gum and oil will break down, and gum will break down at 120 degrees. So people think hotter the better. No, it's not.
The only times I've gone hotter, it's with really bad food dumpster enclosures, and it's caked on to almost like 6 inches.
Yeah.
Other than that, 125 to 150 is usually the range.
Yeah.
I'm
When
operating
we do hazmat spills, if we have a big oil spill and it's real thick, I'll turn the heat up to try to break it down to get it cleaned up
at.
quicker.
Clean it faster. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't need to be running that hot all the time.
No. And the trick, here's your tip for the day. Whenever you're running a pressure washer with a burner, before you shut that pressure washer down, what do you do, Devin?
Turn the burner off and you cycle it all through until cold water's coming out, till every connection's cold and easy for you to touch. You're cooling down the coils in your burner.
You're cooling your burner coil down. You're cooling the coil down inside your pressure hose. The way that I do it is I touch the middle part of the wand. If it's nice and cold, it's time to shut your pressure washer down. Oh, that's my wife leaving. So what else we have here? See what else we got going on. You are SPIRMM. Oh, that's Jordan talking. Africa. Oh, you're spot on. It's 12:25 in South Africa. Thank you, Jordan. I appreciate you for tuning in. Kaylin posted earlier, I think it was today. Yesterday, I had one of my customers come in. He lost everything. So I want to talk to you guys about safety right now. I don't know how he did it. Somehow or another, he just run out of fuel on his pressure washer while he was doing a job. When he went to go fuel it up, he poured fuel all on his exhaust, and I think it even went in his exhaust. It ignited. It caught him on fire. If you see that picture, it's all of his right side he caught on fire. He got second-degree burn. So you'll see the Jay Racenstein brush at the back corner of the trailer. He couldn't even reach there and grab that and pull it out because the fire ignited so quick. Ulysses is my broker. He's the one that does my insurance for me, and a lot of you guys use him. He thought that his business insurance covered his assets. It did. It doesn't. It does not. It only covers you out on the job. You want to get an insurance that covers your equipment. I've got what you call replacement insurance. So if I tell them I want insurance on a trailer at $100,000, If something happens to that trailer, they're going to cut me a check for $100,000. You don't want no insurance that's going to do depreciation. If you got a depreciation insurance, if something happens to it, guess what? You got to pay the deductible and you're at a loss. Now you got to come up with more money to replace all your equipment. So this gentleman did not have insurance on his trailer. His vehicle insurance would not cover him on his trailer because he was pulling it. He did not have no fire extinguisher in his vehicle or his trailer. Rule of thumb, if you have a van, if you have a pickup truck, if you have a trailer, on my trailers, I always keep two. If it's an external trailer, I keep one at the front, one at the rear. If it's a closed-in trailer, one on the outside, one on the inside. You want, wherever you store your gas at, you want one maybe on the opposite side of the trailer. That way, if your gas gets on fire, it's not where the fire extinguisher's at.
Easy access is the main thing.
Easy access. I feel sorry for this guy. I'm going to help him out. I'm going to give him another 5.0. And we're going to get him back in business. He come and sat and had a long heart-to-heart talk with me yesterday. He's bought a couple of systems from me, but he's lucky to be alive right now. But, it's like I tell everybody in our podcast, in this pressure washing world, we're a team. And team stands for together, everyone achieves more. So, he's part of the family. So I'm going to make sure he can get back into business and get back out there and get to work. I hate to see anybody, go through that kind of hardship because that's an ugly feeling. That's my worst thing I fear. It's like my home burning down. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a huge thing that a lot of people want to think about this industry is just PPE, personal protective equipment.
Yep.
Not just fire extinguishers, but a lot of chemicals that we use, guys. You got to wear full rubber gloves. You got to be wearing the proper respirators as well. A huge chemical I use a lot is going to be muriatic acid, diluted down sometimes. But yeah, you got to wear the proper respirators, guys. If you don't know the proper PPE you need, take an OSHA 10 class, honestly. It's going to be your benefit for the long run. I mean, I got medical kits, I got fire extinguishers, I got ladder safety, I got every PPE that we possibly need in our industry because I want to be here for longevity.
Yeah.
And so sacrificing 10 seconds of your time to make sure you're going to come out of it A-okay and fine or not lose 5 years of your life down the road, it's well worth it. Hearing protection too, holy heck.
Yeah.
These commercial washers are loud.
I got embedded in me about always having medical equipment, on your vehicle with you all the time because I used to be a hard hat diver. So when I was a hard hat diver, I was also a hyperbaric technician, advanced diver medic. So if I wasn't diving, we have a hyperbaric chamber. If we're doing sat diving and we're having to run the chamber, we always have medical equipment on us. So I keep medical aid in every vehicle. It doesn't matter if it's just a Band-Aid. Well, back in the days, I kept Novocaine sutures. I kept Benadine. I kept everything.
It's weird because I used to work at a large company and every vehicle had an AED on it as well.
Yep.
And it's weird how my trucks don't have it. Well, I'm like, oh, I don't need it. But it's weird going from a company that was so focused on safety and PPE, and then you now have to transition and try to apply everything.
Look over there on my wall. What do you see that white cabinet?
Giant white cabinet medical first
It's
aid.
got everything you can think of in there. And that's why I keep it over there away from this area's over here in case there's a fire or anything in here.
Somewhere safe, yeah.
I've got fire extinguisher here. I've got one upstairs. You never know.
You don't. And it's better to have it and not need it.
Yeah, always. Have you guys had anything crazy in your industry? Building, fires, anything like that?
Well, we've been fortunate. Where I've been in the industry, we've avoided all those nasty catastrophes.
Yeah.
So we've been lucky.
Yeah, when I worked in the corporate world, we always had, how many days you've been without an accident,
Yeah, because in the corporate, especially with your industry, you guys probably have a lot of slip, trips, falls, and pinch points hazards for fingers, right? In the manufacturing side?
Well, we're actually in the sales distribution of
Gotcha.
AR pumps here in the U.S. Our factory's over in Italy, and
That makes sense.
that's where the pumps are actually made. So
That's why they're so good.
yeah, exactly. No, we have the warehouse, we have the service center, and support for the U.S. and Canada here.
Or even in the
US.
warehouse, because I'm sure you have forklifts moving around.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, got all that.
Slip, trips, and falls still happen, pitch points on fingers.
Yep,
It's all
that
of it.
kind of stuff. We have safety meetings regularly and making sure everyone understands and follows the rules that are in place to protect them.
Absolutely. One thing that we just did for my company was started wearing high-vis vests now, logo and everything on it. And I know a lot of guys, especially in our industry, we're too cool to wear high-vis. And I used to be like that when I worked at a different company, but holy smokes, it makes you also stand out. You're way more professional, as well as for oncoming traffic, because we do a lot of night work. Yep. Stand out in a good reason. And then for your clients, they're like, wow, these guys are professional out here. They're all named, badged. They're wearing high vis. You will start stepping up above the rest from your competitors, as well as you're being more safe.
At nighttime, all of my guys wear a yellow neon shirt with the reflective stripes on it, because you don't want to wear a vest. Believe it or not, in the pressure washing world, guys, we're out there running steam, and now it's getting summertime. You're sweating like a dog. Unless the least you have on, the better off you are. But I do wear a long sleeve year round. You get out there in that sun during the daytime. I wear my big hat, my straw hat during the day. I even wear gloves so I don't get burned up. But
and you get dirty.
Yeah. But people don't realize, they're like, how do you work with long sleeve? I'm like, look, you don't realize this. You're sweating and it cools you off because you're wet. It helps cool you
It's like
off.
swamp cooler effect.
Yeah, it's a cooling effect that you have. So a lot of people think, I'm nuts for wearing a long sleeve shirt. I'm like, you're the one suffering at nighttime from sunburn, and you're more wore out because you wasn't keeping yourself cooled down. So yeah, you got
more trauma.
Yeah, you got to wear that protective clothing and everything. Nighttime, we do a lot of work in the city. We're on city streets. We're in parking garages. We're in shopping centers. And yes, you've got to wear either your safety vest or, like I need, long sleeve safety shirts.
Reflective.
Yeah, reflective shirts.
Another thing, cones, guys, get your safety cones out there. Even if you're in residential, commercial, whatnot, throw it out there.
Yeah, if you're not using it, this is another. Okay, I'm gonna give you 2 tips for the day. If you're out there cleaning city streets and stuff like that, or parking garages where people are coming out of elevators, we have these little pop open safety cones. They're not a cone, but they're a little pop open little slip. It says
caution slip hazard.
Caution slip hazard. It has it on all 3 sides. So I keep them in a piece of a PVC pipe. I stick them down in there. So I grab them, pop them out, throw them on the ground. If I got a hose across the ground, I throw it over the hose, because if you don't have it down and somebody slips and fall, you're at fault. You're going to be paying that woman medical, and you're going to get sued.
You got to cover your own butt in this industry, especially since we live in California. It's a very sue happy world. You got to be really careful. Protect yourself.
But yeah, safety, guys. The fire extinguishers are not that expensive. Go out and spend $20 on a fire extinguisher. That $20 could have saved you $20,000. This gentleman right here, he didn't even want to tell me. And he showed me the video, and I said, don't say no more. I said, was you covered? And he said, no. He explained it to me, and I'm like, dude. I said, you know what? You're alive.
Skin be replaced.
Skin will heal, from his burns. I said, you're alive. Equipment can be replaced. So you're in a positive right now, not a negative. But listen, guys, be safe. I mean, it's starting to get summertime. Make sure if you don't have a big straw hat, get you a straw hat. Get you those little thin black gloves. So you got a little grippy on one side, but they're like little thin. They're like pantyhose or whatever. They're lightweight. They're comfortable. They're breathable, but you don't get burned up. All you that are cleaning, solar panels during the daytime, you're going to be on these hot roofs baking. So cover yourself up. Don't be wearing short sleeve shirts. Wear a straw hat. Terry Lynn, I see what you're saying. Even Terry Lynn's got a straw hat. I've seen her and Jeff out there doing their thing. So yeah, you got to protect yourself and be safe out there. Make sure you're drinking plenty of water in between each job, even during a job. Get a bottle of water every 15 to 20 minutes. Drink a bottle of water during the summertime.
Another thing, if you guys, I know we all love our energy drinks or coffee or whatnot. If you have one of those, you should be drinking at least 2 water bottles afterwards, especially in the summertime.
Yeah, I don't do energy drinks no more. I used to, because I was working day and night. I need that little kick and boost, but I don't do that shit no more. It's not good for you.
I know. That's why you got to get me out of the field. That's why you got to get me out of the field.
Oh, shit. That's why I am out of the field. What else we got going on here? Terry Lynn, Marineland Insurance, correct. Terry Lynn long sleeve shirts, solar panels, especially doing Critter Guard installation is your best. For all you guys that are doing Critter Guard, go by Harbor Freight and get one of those little blue blankets. Lay that blue blanket down on top of that tile, and that'll keep you from getting burnt so bad. They're I think they're like,
like the moving blanket,
$5
right?
a
Yeah.
blanket. They're cheap.
So
It's
Harbor Freight's great for some things and not good for some good tools. But yeah, for a blanket like
for a
this,
little
guys,
moving blanket. They're blue. It's called a moving blanket. So
Uh-huh.
get you one of those blankets.
Nice
I think
and
they
padded.
have them on sale for $5.
Mhm.
Get you a blanket, throw it on the roof while you're doing your critter garden. You're laying on it. That way you keep from getting burnt up.
especially since we're talking about roofs, make sure you're wearing the proper shoes for traction. That's a huge thing. Traction as well when you're doing flat work, especially when you're dealing with oil and grease.
Yeah.
But you want waterproof, especially when you're dealing with water. But you need proper good traction. Let me tell you guys.
I'm old school. I wear my
Flip-flops?
my Tractor Supply rain boots. It's got the neoprene on the side. I
Uh-huh.
even wear those on the roof.
Yeah.
I don't like wet, soaking feet.
No.
And it's miserable when you're out there working all day with wet, soaking feet.
Mhm.
I've seen guys out there surface cleaning with tennis shoes on. I'm
I
like,
see that on like Facebook groups.
yeah.
They post
And I text
photos.
them, I said, dude, go to Tractor Supply and get you a set of boots.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, it's nice to take your boots off and put your
Mhm.
tennis shoes on. You're good to go.
I got a good tip for everybody. It just made me think of something. Starting off in the industry, definitely money can be really tight at times. And you're always looking at, should I get the cheap tool or should I just try to get the nice tool that's expensive, but it's more expensive? I'm telling you guys right now, I can't tell you how many times I've bought the cheap tool and had to rebuy the expensive tool because the cheap shit does not last in this industry at all.
Mm-mm.
So then you bought the expensive and the cheap one. Now you're out of money. Just buy the nice stuff from the get-go, guys. And you can get a nice 2-gallon, 4-gallon a minute rig, a nice one. Don't get something cheap. You can build up and work your way up in the equipment itself, but get the good equipment, guys. I'm telling you, you'll save a lot of time, money, and heartache in the long run.
And don't get me wrong, we know some some guys or gals are under budgets and they can't afford the nice, expensive piece of equipment, and they go out and buy the cheaper one. But they'll come to me and want me to help them, maybe put a water tank in or whatever. They'll go buy a Home Depot or a Costco pressure washer. So I tell them from the very beginning, go and try to make as much money as you can with this because it's not going to last.
Mhm.
And then put every penny back. My rule of thumb is every $100 you make, you only made $70. Put $30 back. So keep putting that money back and get you some good equipment, because that equipment, like these pressure washers, these skids, I put nothing but the best on there. I don't want you calling me and complaining that the equipment's breaking down, this failed, that failed. I don't get phone calls. The only thing I get is stupid phone calls.
From me usually. Because
your
I'm bored.
screen is plugged, or when you first start out, it won't crank because you didn't turn the switch on. I get stupid phone calls.
It's out of fuel.
Yeah, it's out of fuel. That was another one. I just fueled it up. I said, please go check again. Hey, Mark, I'll talk to you later. Bye. I'm like, dumbass. So stupid stuff. I mean, but the equipment that we put out there, that AM Pressure Washing puts out, we make sure that you have the top quality equipment. And that's why, I'm glad that Randy come in today. I know he's not getting to say much, but the AR pumps, you got cheaper pumps out there, and then you got expensive pumps.
Yep.
Devin learned with cat pumps. Just one piston on a cat pump can cost you $300. It's a ceramic little piston in there. They're very expensive pumps. Some people almost freak out when I tell them how much it costs to rebuild one. And I'm like, guys, you bought it with a cat pump. That's what you get. I said, but I do have Hydrotex that we can bolt right on there, and you ain't got to go through all that cost. If you notice on my shelf in there how many AR pumps I got, I put them on all the time. We got some guys that are doing high volume pressure washing, auto detailing, bus cleaning, stuff like that. And these guys are out there running these pumps to death, and they're making good money. And so instead of, rebuilding it and lasting just maybe a quarter or the half the time that they got out of it, they'll just put their new pump on there. I got a couple on that do it all the time. They call me up and say, I'm coming by grabbing a pump. They don't even bring their equipment. They just come pick the pump up and slap it on themselves.
Bolted in, yeah.
I always, whenever I put a pump on an engine, I put anti-seize on the crankshaft. A lot of people don't realize this. Anybody that puts a pump on a crankshaft dry, water gets up in there, it gets rusted. And guess what? I have literally had to beat the pump off the crankshaft.
20-pound sledgehammer.
Oh, I broke the housing that mounts it to it because I'm using my two flathead screwdrivers to try to pump it off. I'll snap the housings. And once I snap that, I'm like, well, I got some old ones back here. I can always bolt another one.
That's
on
right.
Because I keep spare
Frankenstein.
parts. You never know what's going to happen. But yeah, if you ever put a pump on by yourself, put some anti-seize. You don't have to put it on there real thick, but just brush some on your carter key and your crankshaft and slide it on there, and you'll be good to go. I've got a bunch of questions in here.
That's perfect.
All right.
Edgar Gonzalez Jr., what's up? All right, Edgar said, I just saw your video about the 5.0 on fire, but you never mentioned how the fire started. Yes, I did. It was gas. It laid it on its exhaust. Rule of thumb is you're supposed to let your engine cool down. I'm guilty of it. I don't let it cool down, but I make sure that I'm pouring it slow enough that I don't overfill the fuel or the tank. And he never got into details. He was more heartbroken than anything, but he did say it was my fault. Stupid mistake. I poured gas on my engine. I don't know if he was walking up and he poured the gas on the engine, if it come out and overflowed, but what it sounded like to me, it went into the exhaust hole on the muffler, and that's what ignited the fuel. So it was scalding hot and went right into the muffler, and it ignited. So Edgar, that's how he did it. I have fire extinguishers, but what else to prevent the fire? If you're pouring gas in your engine, do not get in a hurry. It may take you another minute to take your time, but fill it real slow and do not overflow it.
And if you make a spill, clean it.
Clean it right away. If you got a rag, the muffler has a protective housing on it. Yes, it's hot, but it's not going to catch the rag on fire. If you got something that you can, maybe protect yourself when you're filling the tank, you got a rag handy, just wipe it up. You can stuff a rag right there by the breather and the backside of the muffler when you're filling so it don't run everywhere. Guys, it's just common sense. Use common sense when you're filling your tank if you're still out on a job. He had to finish the job. He wasn't done. He only had a little bit left. He got in a hurry. He spilled gas on his exhaust. He doesn't have a system no more. So that's how he did it. Edgar, thank you for the feedback. Terry Lynn, can I get a recommendation for good work gloves because I buy cheap gloves and have to replace them often. Terry Lynn, I go to Harbor Freight. They come 3 to a pack, and I think I pay $2.99.
I just don't buy cheap gear.
Well, no, I buy cheap gloves because you wear them out, and they're a throwaway glove. You didn't lose no money. People that go buy these mechanic gloves and spend
20 bucks each.
25 bucks. I like thin. I don't like my hands sweat and being so hot. So the ones that I get at,
What I've noticed.
making me get up. So here's the ones that I get. So these are named G Grip. They're frog. Put my damn glasses on so I can see. They're frog grip, RIP. So they're just a plastic glove with a cloth. They're very thin. But these are what I use here in the shop all the time. I get some of them don't have the little black grip on the top side. They're just cloth. Mm-hmm. The reason I have the little grippy all the way around because we're dealing with oil all the time. So I'm doing oil, welding, stuff like that. The cloth burns up real quick. These last a little bit longer.
If you get the ones that are just pure cloth, get them at least cut level ANSI of 2 and above because that quality is by far superior and it'll last a lot longer for you and it's still breathable.
Yeah. I buy these. I will spend 20, 25 bucks and I've got a dozen gloves and they last me a long time. So I can go back when I was pressure washing all the time, I could go 2 or 3 months with one pair of gloves. As soon as I get done with the day and I'm dumping my water, I wash my gloves out and I have one of those clamps. I put it up on pressure washer and clamp them. Driving down the road, they're blowing dry and they're dry by the time I get to my next job. But I always wash my gloves out at the end of the job when I was dumping my water and wringing them out and hanging them up on my pressure washer. So I did used to work, believe it or not. Put my gloves back over there. All right, what else can we talk about today? Terry Lynn, you're more than welcome, my dear. You and Jeff rock. Love you guys. Petra and Omar. Poor Petra, she still got her boot on. I was making fun of her a while ago because she keeps using her foot to be mean. I won't say how. Petra, I love you, girl. Be nice to your husband. Don't be beating him up. Trying to see the chat box. Jordan's got a lot to talk about. What else we got in here? Jordan, you were talking about, let's see. Safety rules, let the system cool down. Correct. You need to let it cool down. I don't have hot water. How can I get high-rise windows cleaned with bugs using a water-fed broom? I hope you're not using hot water on buildings, Jordan. Do you not have DI water? You should be using DI water.
I think it's trying to get like the bugs off. So it would have to probably be the 000 grit steel wool. So you're gonna have to do like a soft scrub to get those bugs off.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a water-fed pole because the bristles are so soft. It's mainly meant for getting dirt and debris off, but bugs are usually smashed on there. So you're gonna have to add a little bit more elbow grease. They do make different attachments though for your pole, for the water-fed pole that have a little bit harder bristle brushes. That could help you, but that's all it is. Soft bristle brush. It's not going to be abrasive enough to take the dead bugs off.
No, the blue brushes that I would use, for like window cleaning, I would spray my soap on the windows, and it's the longer blue bristle brushes because, like on commercial buildings, you got these metal frames, and I can use that blue brush to get in the trough on the very bottom. You could use that. But like a regular window cleaning brush, one side's soft and the back side has like a little Scotch-Brite pad on it. You can get them off of that. But Jordan, whatever you're doing with bugs, you're going to have to scrub. Elbow grease is the only way to go. What else we got going on here?
Yeah, elbow grease is a hot commodity nowadays.
Edgar said for high rise, use a coconut pad on the pole.
Coconut pads.
J Racing Sign sells the coconut pads. Works just as great as 000 steel wool. Well, there you go.
See?
So Edgar, you got everybody helping you out on there. Not Edgar, but Jordan. So just read the comments, Jordan. You see people helping you out, answering your questions. Well, Randy, what else you got to contribute? You got anything you want to add to the podcast today?
Tell me about pumps. Let's go.
Well, we got a wide variety of pumps ranging from 2 gallons a minute on up to 60 gallons a minute. Pressure's up to 10,000 PSI, actually 15,000, but I don't think you guys get much up over 5 in this industry.
With those large pumps, what are contractors generally using those for?
Well, we're going to other markets with them actually. The real large pumps really aren't geared for the, traditional pressure wash, commercial pressure wash.
I used a 10,000 PSI pressure washer. I had a Cummins diesel engine that drove that thing with a big old clutch, handle on it. You'll never guess where I used it.
I'm not going to try to guess.
I used it underwater. I used to pressure wash oil rigs. I pressure wash power plants. We removed marine growth. So our wands, the main ball in the center, one rod went this way, one rod went this way, the other one in with your trigger gun, and you had a shoulder harness. So it's not a negative or positive push. So you got water blowing both ways. And I forgot how many gallons per minute this monster was. I cut a log into underwater with it at a power plant one time, just playing around.
Wow.
And I've actually cut my boot because on grizzly bars at a power plant, you got these bars that line up and they get built up with muscles. And so you lash yourself in, and I'm like with my feet on the grizzly bars and I'm pressure washing. And I accidentally come across my boot, didn't get my toe, but it did cut my boot. My foot was wet. So I had a dry suit on. And, but yeah, we use 10,000 PSI pressure washer underwater. That sucker was a monster, dude.
Yeah,
you did not want to get cut with that sucker.
I saw online once when people were using rigs like that for highway projects as well, like cutting concrete before. I was just curious if that's what you've seen contractors use it for.
Yeah, getting up into demolition with 7,000 PSI. They're using them for that. Also for like on runways, they're taking the rubber where the planes hit the cement, and then they're using high pressure then to chisel that off.
I got a customer. He does aviation runways. They come in and clean all the rubber, and then they come back and do all the striping.
Okay. Yep.
Cool. That's one of the things. But yeah, that was underwater. That was pretty trippy. using that big ass pressure washer underwater.
When you saw
But-
that much pressure while in the water.
I was young like you, or had muscles like you back in those days. Now it would kill me to run that thing underwater. That sucker, you were tired at the end of the day. Edgar, I have Marks 5.0 and would like to add a 12-volt pump from the water tank to my water-fed pole. What's recommendation, Randy?
12. I'm sorry. What's the question?
He has one of my 5.0s. Randy, or not Randy, but Edgar, your 2 DI tanks, the last DI tank has a ball valve on it. You shut the ball valve off on your 100-gallon tank. You turn the ball valve on the DI tank, run a water hose from that tank, that ball valve to your water-fed pole, and there you go. You don't need a pump unless you need to have a booster pump.
Yeah.
So if you need a booster pump, we can get you one of those from Jay Racenstein.
Those you would size at about 2.5. Usually they're like a centrifugal type pump. So you size it for 2.5 gallons or 2.5 times the rated flow of your pump.
Yeah. Yeah, but the location doesn't have a water source. All right, then we need to get you a water pump from like Jay Racenstein, and we can hook it, where your water comes out of your tank. We can add a bulkhead, or we can put a T on the bulkhead that you have that goes to your pump. It's easy. We just got to get you a Jay Racenstein, and it is 12 volt. But you don't want to run it all day and run your battery down. So, all right, yeah, that's easy, Edgar. Just give me a call tomorrow, and I'll go over it. Call me and I can let you know and give you a price on that pump. I think it's 90 PSI, and I forgot how many gallon per minute it is.
Normally it's like under 2 gallons a minute. As
I
a
think
booster
it's
pump for
like-
water-fed poles.
It's either 2 or 5 gallons per minute pump. I can't remember. But I build booster pumps with those for like the robot and for people that are doing high rises,
Yeah.
that are cleaning windows. So I do a single battery with a single pump, and I do a dual battery with a dual pump. Depends on how much hose you're running. But I do build them. All right, give me a call tomorrow, Edgar. We'll take care of that. Well, guys, after fat fingering and not turning my volume up, thinking I had a technical difficulty, it wasn't the computer, it was me. So I'll take the blame. But we've been on almost an hour. Devin needs to go home and get some sleep because he's been working.
All of last night, all of today, and tonight.
So you need to go home and get you a nap. Randy's probably had enough of us today, and he's ready to get out of here and go to his next adventure. But if you guys got any questions for Devin or for Randy before we get out of here, please throw it in the chat box. Peace out. Because we're about to log out and get out of here, guys.
Yeah, one of my new favorite quotes is being tired is a byproduct of success.
I like the way you say that, but I think it's crazy. I'm tired because I'm working too damn much.
But that work, all that work you're putting in is why you're successful.
You know what? If I could just be 21 years old again and know what I know now.
That'd be too easy.
Sherry Lynn, thank you. You and Jeff as well. I love you guys. All right, everybody. Well, you guys, thank you for tuning in. Sorry for the technical difficulty at the beginning. It wasn't computer, it was me. But thank you guys for tuning in. Randy, thank you for coming out. I appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you having me on.
And thank you, Devin.
Always a pleasure.
So, guys, have a good one. We'll see you next week. And I think Mr. Devious is coming in next week, and somebody else was going to come in. But I think Mr. Devious is coming next week. And we got some other people coming in later this month as well. So, everybody stay tuned. I'll shoot everything out and let you know who's coming in. And thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you guys. Have a good day. Peace.
Thank you for joining our podcast today. Hope the knowledge we passed on to you helped. Please tune in next week for a brand new show and surprise guest. From AM Pressure Washing and your host, Mark Sullins, have a great day and be safe.
Coming on.